Hey FlossTube Stitchers, my name is Shelly and I'm here to talk to you about my MAYnia plans this year and also to share what's new at my shop. And speaking of sharing, a lovely lady named Maria from Canada called me the other day to give me a bit of information that I was missing, and I was so thrilled to hear that she had figured out where my pineapple came from last week. So she had stitched some things from this chart so she knew what it was. I can't believe I didn't remember that it was Prairie Schooler, because they have always been one of my top 10, possibly even top 5 favorite designers. But it's book number 21 that came out either in the late 80s or early 90s, and it's called Doorstops. So they show the 4 designs as doorstops. They show one of them framed and then 3 of them as little pillows. And she said it could also be purchased as a Jan Lynn kit. So I thought that was really interesting, and since I haven't unpacked all of my charts from that time period after our move 20-some years ago, I wouldn't have run across that chart anytime soon. So I appreciated that update. I'm going to start with new shop models. We got a ton of new shop models yesterday, but I'm going to stretch them out through a couple weeks at least so that I have something new, because you never know when something new is coming. And I'm obviously not finishing enough to keep you satisfied. So I'm gonna spread it out and just show you a couple of them today. The first you may have seen if you follow me on social media. My framer did this, Bonnie, and it is the 2023 Collector's Heart from Heart in Hand Needle Art. And just to compare, I will show you the difference in the frame. So one is a little more rustic and the other is a little more elegant. Although the pictures don't look the same, she did use the fabric that was in the kit. So it was 32 count Heartland from Picture This Plus, and it uses leather bound, which is a shade of hand dyed from Cottage Garden threads, and then the cute little wood quilt block button is right there from the Bee Company. And I didn't even notice it at first. I think I didn't even notice it when it first came, but it struck me when I was photographing it, when I was photographing Bonnie's model. It was so clever the way she put the year in there. So I hope to remember that for future pieces. Sometimes it's really hard to find a good place to put your initials or the year. A lot of times I don't bother if it's not that big of a piece, or if it's a little holiday piece, or especially if it's, you know, not going to be a gift. But that is such a clever way of doing it, and it's kind of hidden in plain sight. So that's the Collector's Heart. Then we have 2 from Marlene, and before you think you know, they're not Halloween. The first one is called Easter Farm, and I practiced this so that I would know how to hold it so it fills the entire screen. And this is by a company that I always have trouble saying. It's Cuore y Battacuore, which means heart and heartbeat, I think. But it's just so cute. So the colors are so nice and bright, and since she just got it framed, of course, she already has her patriotic display up at her house, so she wasn't going to hang this anytime soon, so we got to borrow it right away. And because it was a surprise and I didn't know that's one of the things she was picking up, I didn't have that chart in stock, but they're on order next week. Then the second one, also from Marlene, is by one of my favorites, Madame Chantilly. And it says Happy Easter, but the name of the chart is Strange Surprises. And it kind of looks like the mouse is pointing at the cat, maybe pointing out that it's wearing an Easter bunny outfit. So I thought that was a cute name for it. And I know you can't really tell on screen there, but this is an opalescent. It looks like Bashful Lugana from Picture This Plus, because I know I had that last year, and this is a chart from last year, and I remember having that color. So it's a really pretty pink. And I love the little touch with the fillet in there. It kind of brings out the beige in the piece just a little bit and gives the rustic frame a little more pizzazz. So this also is on order. So those were the only 3 I'm going to show you today. All right, and then I'm going to show you, well, first of all, I should say that my MAYnia plans change from year to year based on what's going on in my life and what's going on in the world. And in 2019, I had actually started a new project every day, and I haven't done that since. MAYnia in the past couple years has been having some kind of social media sale to bring more money in. And when I just show a new start each day, it doesn't necessarily add up to that. So, and then also you end up with all those new pieces that you started, and you shouldn't really be starting that many more. I say shouldn't, but we do that. But this year I decided I decided to concentrate on finishing some whips, and I think it's because I have been finishing whips so far this year, and it's been a really nice feeling of accomplishment, and I need to do some finishing, and so I just want as much as possible to choose from when I go through all of my finishing options. So my goal originally was maybe to finish 4 pieces, but I don't have that many bigger pieces, that have a lot left to stitch on them. So I thought, well, maybe I'll do a couple bigger pieces and then do some smaller ones that only had like a night or 2 left to stitch on them. So I'm thinking I'm going to get more than 4 or 6. So maybe I'll say my goal is to have 2 per week finished. So we'll see how that goes. The first one was seasonal etchings, which I started during the NYE 12x12. And the last time I showed it to you, I think I had the bunny and the flowers. So, no, I probably had half a fish. I've showed it a couple times. I think I had half a fish. So I finished one of the blue fishes, and I did the owl. Funny story about the owl. I was stitching right along, binge watching something on TV that I didn't have to pay a whole lot of attention to, and then I'm stitching with a solid color to do the whole owl, so I didn't even have to, do much work in preparing my mind for stitching because I was just using one color. But in my stitch bag were 2 projects. One used sticks and twigs, this one used hickory sticks, not this one. And I accidentally, I'll show you how close they are so that you can feel my pain. Maybe they don't always look this close in color, and maybe you can't tell on screen, but this is what I should have been stitching with, and I did half the owl in hickory sticks. Now, I must confess, I didn't even look at the pattern. I just reached into my bag and said, sticks, hickory sticks. So somewhere in the back of my mind, I probably remembered that sticks was part of the name, but I forgot that I had 2 such close colors in different projects. So I had to take it out. Now, it took 5 minutes to take it out, so isn't that a shame? That it takes you so long to stitch something, and then, oh well. So I started on it again the next night, started stitching earlier in the evening, and I did the whole owl in one night. And my husband said, you probably could have left it. But we're in our family room with maybe not the best lighting. I'm stitching under a stitching lamp, but he's just stitching under, the light from the fireplace and watching TV. So he said, do you think you could have kept that? And I said, yeah, I probably could have kept the owl in that color. It wasn't that different, but there's so much. That sticks and twigs is throughout. It's the border through all of them. It's the the trees in the cardinal part of it, and I thought, but you know what's really funny? Doesn't that look like a darker color now that I see it like this? I wonder if her dye lots weren't the same, because I swear, come on people, no, it's the same color. So maybe her dye lot was different, because she did stitch them at different times. They were in 4 different issues of the Punch Needle magazine, Prim Stitcher and Punch Needle. That's so funny. Now I feel like I should have left it, but it's fine. It's over and done with now. So maybe 3 nights, because the fish go pretty quickly. Maybe 3 nights or 4 nights. So I'm thinking I'll do like a full evening of stitching once a week on this, so that I get it done by the end of the month. So that was one of the big ones that I chose. I haven't chosen the other big ones, but that was one that I knew I wanted to work on because it's been so fun. Then, actually, you know what? I think all of these are from the New Year's Eve thing. I didn't even realize that, but I just grabbed them out of my bag. So the next one is Coffee First, and I've been wanting to do a little coffee theme on my island in the kitchen, and I have some other coffee things, small decor that I can put with it, and so I thought that would be fun. And on New Year's Eve, I stitched some of the coffee beans, and I can't remember if I did all the coffee beans and the green. I can't remember how much I stitched. Maybe I worked on it one other night after that. But last night, I added the steam curls and the apron. So that's that. And I'm thinking maybe more than a night for the coffee cup, and maybe 1 night to do the rest of the lady. So I shouldn't have any problem accomplishing that. So those were the 2 I worked on that are still considered whips. The next one I actually finished, and this was also one of the New Year's Eve. It's from the 13 Spooky Smalls book from Primrose Cottage, and I did this one. They did it as a little pillow. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it as a pillow or a stand-up, because I want it to go in, I want it to fit in a tiered tray or some kind of tabletop display like that. So I have to decide. It would work well in so many different types of finishes. But I did mine on 25 count Lugana in Vintage Stormy Night, which is a Zweigart color, so it's the kind that's stamped on one side. And boy, did I enjoy an evening of working on 25 count after the 36. So I really like the way that turned out. And you know, the coverage is pretty decent for 25 count. I always surprise myself because I think I'm not going to be happy with it, and I'm going to go back to the higher counts, but it's not bad, especially when it's a prim piece, because it's okay to not be completely saturated with color or to look a little rustic. So that is my finish. All right, then I'm going to show you what's next. I'm going to show you fabric. This is a potpourri of fabric. This is just a very strange combination of fabric that showed up on my doorstep this week. The first one is a fabric flare called Smoky Pearl. Nope, Smoky Blue. Smoky Pearl is something else. Smoky Blue. And the company says, or actually, I don't know if the company says this or the distributor, but in Yarn Tree's description, they say it's a it has notes of 597 and 807. And I didn't check my stash at home, so I didn't have the 597, but I do have the 807. So you can just kind of tell that it's in that turquoisey family. Maybe it's a little duller. It looks a little duller on screen than it does, and this maybe is a little dark, but it's in, you know, it's in that basic family. And this is 28 count linen. Then I'm always so excited to get R&R fabric because it's just so hard to get. And when the distributor adds it, sometimes they used to email us And then we'd be like scrambling to try to get it in our shopping cart before everybody else did it. And then sometimes they just kind of sneak it onto the R&R page. This time they actually put it in the what's new section. So I think they're trying different things to make sure that everybody gets a chance. It was in the what's new section, like it must have shown up right when I was placing my order, because I didn't know until I got the invoice in my inbox that said I got it, and I swear they could hear me screaming all the way down in Alabama. Maybe you won't think it's that exciting, but since it's hard to get, I'm always really grateful that maybe all of the bigger online shops didn't snatch it all up first. But this is 36 count vanilla bean, and I matched it up to, it's somewhere, it's a cross between 712 and 739, somewhere in the middle there. So it's a really nice, neutral, it's not off-white, but it's not as creamy. It's not that yellow. And then they have the white tag on so you can kind of see how it compares to white. But I think it's a really nice neutral for a lot of things, not just samplers. So I have all of that. I meant to put the prices, and I didn't. I'll either put them in the show notes, or if I have to edit for any other reason, I might add it down there, but maybe I'll just put it in the show notes. Well, why don't I just tell you what it is, since I only showed two so far. The smoky blue is 110 a yard, so you can figure out like maybe what a quarter or an eighth would be. The R&R is 119. All right, then the next one is, these next two are both Zweigarts. This is 28 count Cashel, blue with white mini dot, and it's washing out a little bit, so I will show you that it matches up to 3743. I'm sorry, 3753. So I like this because the dots are a little smaller. They don't, the bigger dots kind of get in the way, and unless you're wanting them to look like snowflakes, sometimes people decide not to use the dots because they don't know what they're going to have to be stitching over the dot, if it's going to be hard to get the needle through it, or if the dot's going to show up in just the wrong place on, a face or landing on someone's shoulder or something. You just never know. So these dots are a little bit smaller and maybe easier to work around. I think it's really sweet for Easter or anything spring or summery to show the blue sky. Even a baby design would look good on it. So that is blue with white mini dot, and that is 76 a yard. And then I have another Zweigart. It's Lugana, 32 count, and the color is called Pumpkin, and it matches up to 922, and it's $61 a yard. This is such a great orange. I wish they would have come out of it in like every count possible. I've had people for several years trying to get this in Ada, so maybe if this is popular, they'll bring it out in a couple other counts. So that one's really nice for fall, but definitely Halloween. And then I have some Charles Craft. I don't usually carry it. I got out of the habit of ordering it because their fabric by the yard always used to be really stiff. And I only ordered it when there was really a different color that Zweigart didn't have, and if a customer requested it. So I didn't even realize that they had these printed fabrics, kind of like Fabric Flare. And Tiny Modernist came out with this one at market this year. This was an exclusive to the distributor, Yarn Tree. And this uses the Charles Craft Dew printed fabric, which is this one. And I didn't want to mess it up. And is it taped? I didn't want to mess it up, so I'm sorry. I'm going to show it to you through the packaging. Maybe I can show it so there's not so much glare. So it's $10.50 a tube, and it's about, is it 15 by 18? I feel like that's what I read. Yeah, that's what it says on the front, 15 by 18. So it has some interesting blues and greens running through it. Then the next one is Sand. And that would also be really nice, not just for a beach piece, but a pastel, Easter, baby, springtime. So I thought that was really pretty. And then the last one is Sunset. sunrise, sunset. I wish they put the name on the packaging, but they don't. I think it's sunset. Anyway, it's mostly pinks and lavenders with maybe a little bit of peachy showing through in places. And again, these are $10.50 for the tube. All right, so that's all of the fabric. Then I have a Lady Dot Creates trim that I've been trying to get for a while from the distributor. I didn't get it from her direct. I just thought I'd wait till the distributor had it in stock. So I've been trying to order this for a while, and it finally came. It's vintage tinsel. There's 2 3-yard pieces. You could use this as trim on ornaments, or you could just lay this around your tiered tray and then use it later. Double duty there. Anyway, it's $12 because it has twice as much as most of the other ones. So anyway, I thought that was kind of fun. And then I will show you the charts. So the first one is from Little House. It's their Petites collection, Hello Sunshine. And this is going to be the gift this week. I'll do a close-up there that you can see all the gardening things. It's $9.50. You get all 4 in there. And then, of course, those tags are from Alyssa from Starry Nights Studio. So you can have her do your finishing, or you can buy the pre-finished tags for each of these with the fabric and everything, with the finishing fabric already ready for you. All you have to do is stitch and mount your finished piece. So tell me something about your garden if you have one, vegetable, flower, or just say you're not a gardener, and I'll put you in the drawing for this. All right, then, 4th of July in a jar from Madame Chantilly. I thought that was really clever. A wide mouth mason jar. Full of bunnies. This was out of stock, so I did not get this before Easter. And this is, let's see, that one was $15.50. This is $14.50. Summer Sweets Pin Keep. I can't talk today, but I'm not going to redo this. Summer Sweets Pin Keep, $12. I love this. I need to do this. But I have some of her bunnies from previous years I haven't finished yet, so I'm telling myself I have to finish the bunnies first before I do that one. Then Blackbird had some reprints. I think do I not have, I don't have one of them here because I already pulled it for a customer. But you can check Hoffman. And do you know that if you go to Hoffman and look up the designer, you can switch the top where it says how they're shown? And they're normally shown alphabetically, but if you hit that tab, I think you have to hit it twice. If you hit it twice, it'll show you in from newest on. And if you do that, or you can just go to the what's new this month, and you can see the ones that they just reprinted. So this is Away We Ride. I've seen this so many times on social media. So glad to have that one back again. The Bells on Christmas Day, which has a bunch of designs in it, of course. This is $20. This I think is new. Lydia R. I can't read backwards. Maybe I didn't read what this was. Did they do this as a retreat piece or something? Anyway, I think this is brand new. I could be wrong. Strawberry Fields Forever. And The Winter is Past. This looks so much like their Loose Feathers designs. You can just really tell. All right, then Prairie Schooler reprinted Prairie Village 2. So now both of them are available. And then, you know what, I can't read backwards and I can't read upside down, so I had to turn these around. Scarlet House had some new ones. Sophia Gregory, 1835. Spring Alphabet. And Mary Jane Kerr, 1876. This is the one she was showing snippets of the dog. That is such a cool dog. Sometimes dogs look like other animals in samplers, but that's a really good rendition. And then I looked back in my notes, and I really don't think I ever showed you these because it was delayed. It just, because she was moving, and it took like a month or more to get the automatic, and it went so fast because so many people had asked for it during that time period that I didn't even have enough to fill the orders, and I had to reorder again, and then obviously it's a lot of work to move. So I just got these yesterday, or 2 days ago, I think. And so I don't think I showed these to you because I would have had to take them out of people's bags. Home Sweet Home. I'll show it sideways so you can see it. Strawberries and flags, 2 of my favorite things. All I have to do is like add a bee in there and it would be super. All right, the robins are here. And again, you may have already seen these because people have already stitched them, but I wanted to officially show them here. And then Spring Awakens. Look at those bees. And Mary Ann Kopp 1839, which is a reproduction, and there's a whole history on the back. I just love when people do all that research on the samplers. It just makes it so much more meaningful, and it's so enjoyable to stitch something when you can read something about the history of the stitcher and where she's from and her family, and I don't know, it's just, I think it makes it, I just really appreciate all the work that people do when they research a sampler that they reproduce. Sometimes there's not a whole lot of information out there, but anyway, I love reading them. Even if I don't decide to stitch that one, I do enjoy reading. Okay, the winner from last week's, she gets her choice of one of the Erin Elizabeth charts that I showed, and her YouTube handle is Raggedy Jean, but her name is Carol Steele. And so she's already contacted me back with her address, so we'll have to chat about which chart she wants, and then that'll go out in the mail. And thanks again to Maria for solving the mystery of the Prairie Schooler pineapple. And I guess that's it. I may not be filming next week because it's Mother's Day, but I still want to film something because I want to keep track of my MAYnias. So I might do it the night before, or I might do it on Monday. We'll see. I'll decide next week. So, all right, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions about anything I showed. The best way to reach me is by email, and all that information is in the show notes. Bye. Hey, FlossTube Stitchers. My name is Shelly, and I'm here to talk to you about screwed it up in the first 10 seconds.